And hi, Oliverian community.
Yeah. We are here with the Kramer family, Sandra, Ollie, John, and Kate. And we're just going to talk a little bit about what Oliverian means to everybody. And thank you guys all so much for being here. We super appreciate you doing this.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
I'm Sandra Kramer. I'm Ollie's mom, and Ollie is an alumni, and I am also a new current board member.
I'm Ollie. I went to Oliverian for my junior and my senior year, and then I graduated.
I'm John, and I'm Ollie's dad. And Kate's too.
Good point.
I'm Kate. I'm Ollie's sister, and I'm 3 years older, so I'm in college right now. I just graduated college, but yeah.
Oliverian for me, I think, means that I'm never actually alone, given that my family lives 3,000 miles away from me. That can be really tough sometimes, but I have other family that's 40 minutes up the highway that I can see however often I need to, or text or call. So
I love that.
Yeah. And that's because you're going to school at Plymouth State University.
Yeah, I think this school, just like watching Ollie go there, I just saw how much it changed their life, and like I can't imagine where our family would be without it. And just like the way that it introduced Ollie to like the outdoors again, because like moving from California, which is like more of a city, to like rural New Hampshire, really introduced them to like something that's going to be their like life passion, which I think is really cool. And like it's even impacted me in some ways. I'm going to go up there this summer with them and do like whitewater rafting and get a taste of their like major that they're doing in college. So just like overall, I think this school has opened so many doors for them, and I couldn't be prouder as their older sibling.
I agree with what Kate, you just said, how Oliverian has changed Ollie's life. It actually has changed all of ours. It certainly has changed mine. Leading up to Oliverian, our family was in a tough place, and Oliverian for me means like reconnecting as a family. And boy, I mean, if I had a lot of time, I would share all the things that I've learned since coming in contact with Oliverian. First and foremost, just how to stay in a loving, supportive place towards Ollie. You know, we arrived at Oliverian, we were in a tough spot. There was a lot of disconnection between myself and Ollie, a lot of worry that I carried as a dad, a lot of powerlessness. And just through being around Abby and some of the others that are still there, and some of the people who have moved on, they taught me how to just allow the Oliverian community to sweep us all up and take care of us. And my heart is full for that.
So I think if you would have asked me that the very first time I ever heard of Oliverian, it just makes me think it was something foreign to me. It sounded very far away, unacceptably far away, overwhelmingly far away. It just was something I never heard of or thought about. And obviously a lot has happened between that day a few years ago and today. Now to me it just means connection. Some of the people who work at Oliverian or used to, Greg, Abby, Will, and so many others who connected with me and with Ollie, with all of us actually, in very meaningful ways, very creative ways, outside the box. And then some of the connections that Ollie, that you've made with other students and alumni, that was so different than, other friendships you've had over the years, and really just, it didn't happen in an instant, but it's just like this process that happens once you're there, once your kid is there, and it's so unique. It just, to me, I've never been on the board of anything. For me to join and, want to stay connected in that way, it really is because the place has inspired me and moved me and done so much for our family. It's not, it's not like we had a problem person in our family. As a family, we were struggling, and Oliverian really gets that, and showed up for us, and still does now, even though none of us are still going there. It's pretty remarkable.
Mom, you reminded me with the distance. I remember when Oliverian was first proposed to me, the idea of boarding school, I was given 2 options, one in California and one in New Hampshire. And being, the 16-year-old that I was, I chose the far away option to get far away, which totally backfired, because since going to Oliverian, I would never imagine being this close with my family. Like, I would laugh in your face if you told me that this was the outcome.
Oh.
So did it really backfire? I feel like it worked for us.
I mean, it backfired for angsty me, but dubs for real person me.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, it's really true.
I remember when you chose to go to Oliverian, and
I did not see that coming.
It was so amazing. You were buried under the angsty teenagerness at the time, and I saw the courage that was there but had been buried under, and really amazing. Sandra, do you remember we dropped Ollie off?
You do.
And they met a few of the other students, and they walked away, and we were both like, oh boy, it felt like we were onto something here, and it also was very frightening as parents. And that's when you just have to surrender to powerlessness and have hope that Oliverian knows what they're doing, and indeed they do. There's a lot of magic there.
I think for me, it's the first thing that pops into my head is Will. And I mean, he took us as a family. Kate wasn't able to join, but when we visited, when you were still in high school, Ollie, he took us on very, very early morning hikes. It was, and bike rides. It was cold. But my favorite memory around that is Ollie had told me that they were doing these every morning outings with Will. But you actually never described every single one in detail. And when I mentioned it to Will, he had us doing our own outdoor thing, and he said, oh yeah, I mean, I had them out there, and 6 inches of flood, and they're running up to their ankles in water, and it was 30 degrees. And I was like, what? You hadn't bragged about that or mentioned it. I already thought it was remarkable that you were out there every morning running and biking. Just, it really spoke volumes about the connections that were happening for you.
I think that's a great example of trusting the powerless Oliverian magic, because for clarification, I did not choose to do those morning activities. That was not my choice. But I think without it, I wouldn't be competing at a collegiate level now. I'm an athlete again, and I lost that part of myself, and I never thought I'd get it back, and I did.
I'm so glad you said that. I mean, I was thinking the same thing. It came out of a punishment, and instead of taking away your phone and doing some of the stuff that typically do, Oliverian, they came up with just a way to motivate you and have you connect with yourself. And when I heard about that, I just knew that Oliverian was the real deal, because who does that? You know, who does that?
I think in that time period marks in my head the end of a substance abuse battle. I think that was like what stuck for me, was remembering that my body can be used for other things. And like I've never gone back since then. Like before then, I don't think it was solidified yet. But after that there was no thought about it. Like it was over.
Yeah.
Amazing.
For me, it was the skiing. Like, I don't
Oh my
like,
God.
popped out with like amazing skiing skills, which I thought was cool at Oliverian. You guys did like skiing as part of your classes, like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you're like, now you make me look like an idiot on this.
Well, Kate and I like to take it a little slower on the slopes.
Yeah.
Right. I was just going to share, another Oliverian memory that I have is at your graduation, Ollie, and just seeing the connections that you had made and the connections that Mom and I had made, and you gave a speech, and you were given an award, and I could tell that Oliverian saw you, and you saw Oliverian, and by association, Mom and I were a part of that, and that was a beautiful memory for me, seeing you graduate with your class and that accomplishment.
Well, I want to add one more thing. I think as like more not involving my family Oliverian memories, I think just having been there for 2 years and like having been like a returning student and having the culture really change from my first year to my second year, but still me and my like original friends bringing like my first year we used to hang out like on the bridge all the time and like do stupid things and hang out a lot, and that the second year it started to change, that kind of went away. But I remember me and Kat Gaffey were like, no, like the bridge culture is not over, and like we went back, and by the end of my senior year, like we had like tons of people just hanging out outside together and just like being together. And I mean, the bridge is such a great example because it's in the middle of campus. You have to go through it, go past it to get to your dorms, and we would be sitting there hanging out, and like people would be going back to their dorms and be like, can we just hang out? And be like, yeah, of course, like sit down, hang out. And like all of a sudden you have these like random group of like kind of weird kids from all over the world, like hanging out on some like rickety wooden bridge in the middle of rural New Hampshire. Like, what are we doing? Like, I don't know, giggling about Vogel.
Perfect.
So, like every time that happened, it was just like, yeah, this is good.
I think I'll leave with one last one that plays sometimes on a loop in my mind. I don't know if we've ever talked about this one, but it was your senior year, and we were up there visiting and leaving and saying goodbye to you at your dorm room, and I started to cry, of course. And I was still, a little like our relationship was still healing, and I was still feeling a little self-conscious of being too much or too over the top. And I remember saying like, oh, I don't know why I'm crying. And you're like, I do, because you're saying goodbye to your baby and you live far away. And I could feel like at that moment, like there was something that you kind of got me or gave me. It was generous. It's replayed many, many times for me. And I still cry even when I say goodbye to Kate, who's 22 almost.
No, like every time you gotta cry.
My babies.
That memory contrasts well with the crybaby memory.
Oh my
Yes.
If you know, you know.
It's full circle.
Yeah.
Full circle.
But you were a toddler then, so I'll allow it.
And Sandra, you and I have talked a little bit about that, and just the growth and maturity that occurred for Ollie during their time at Oliverian, and being able to see you, like you were just describing, came out of the transformation that we owe so much credit to Oliverian for.
and to Ollie
Yeah.
and ourselves. Yeah.
And Kate, yay!
Yeah,
And
I
Lola.
mean Kate too, for sure.
Lola.
Kate, is there a memory that you have of Oliverian? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I mean, I think like all of yours are more like firsthand, but I think like meeting Greg Vogel and meeting like Sarah and Kat over the past and Zoe over the past like few years, it's like so nice to meet them because it like solidifies how transformative Oliverian was and like the quality of the people that they met there and how much like love and support they had. Like it's so nice to see Ollie with like friends who actually appreciate them like super genuinely, and the French like the bond that they've built over being at boarding school together seems to be really deep. And like yeah, just I remember meeting them and being like, oh yeah, like these people are like a lot better than like some other people. I think you guys know what I mean. But yeah.
With meeting people here, like I meet people at college and they're like, I met some really great people here, and my friends from Oliverian have come and visited and they've been like, wow, like you guys are like really close. And I'm like, yeah, like you just don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, I will never reach the same level of friendship that I have with those that I went to Oliverian with. And like I think current students can get that. Like you'll meet wonderful people after you leave Oliverian, but like you're locked in with a few because like nothing compares to that experience.
I think I've had the opportunity to give that some thought over this past few months as I've become involved with the board and on sort of a rather steep learning curve. And what I've really thought a lot about is supporting Oliverian. I think first of you, Ollie, or of other students and families who really had this incredible transformative experience. And then I think about the wider circle. So like your grandparents, your friends, our neighbors, people who care about you. And they were also touched by Oliverian. It's not just one student. It's incredible. It has really far-reaching benefits. I think, your experiences at Plymouth came partially out of your experience at Oliverian, and then that's benefiting you and other people and Oliverian in the future. And I would encourage people to look at themselves and also grandparents and neighbors and other people who care about their kids as people who would also potentially want to support Oliverian, and to not even necessarily change or grow Oliverian. I feel like there's already a fantastic secret sauce going on there. It's not like we need to turn it into a giant institution, but to just sustain it and continue to be able to develop and help kids and families. It's just remarkable. I can't really think of a lot of other similar places that would give in the same way.
Yeah, to piggyback on to what you were just saying, Sandra, I think Oliverian is a special place, as I've said earlier, who has their finger on the pulse of what a lot of our adolescents need during a very challenging time in the world. And we have been given. And it's nice to give back.
Yeah, well put.
And anyone who is associated with somebody like us who has been given so much they would be honored to give back. And Oliverian, is one of those places worthy of being given back to.
when you're supporting Oliverian, you're supporting giving kids like me a second chance, which I so desperately needed at the time that we found Oliverian. I was going down a path that I really had no control over anymore. I was just as powerless as my parents were dropping me off. And through Oliverian, I was able to find myself, find the path that I should be on and follow it. And now I'm at college, meeting new people, doing new things, and I've never felt better.
So if that's not a reason to give to Oliverian, I don't know what is.
And to become someone that my family is proud of is something that Oliverian has helped me achieve. Because I know that you guys were always proud of me and you always loved me, but like now, like it feels deserved.
Very proud of you guys. Proud to be associated with Oliverian too.